No matter how the cachet of the WNBA elevates, remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up.
It's possible that Caitlin Clark received an offer from Europe that will permanently alter the WNBA. As the likelihood of Caitlin Clark moving to Europe increases, the WNBA is in a panic. Perhaps you ought to have considered showing a little more respect to your big star. Caitlin will now seriously harm the WNBA. Who is going to keep watching without CC, really?
She will do her best. I know she's talented, but she's not strong enough and she doesn't have enough experience right now to compete at this.
Caitlin dealt with these individuals throughout the entire season. You are inexperienced. Look what happened. You can't handle the WNBA. She left the WNBA stunned after storming through and shattering records like there was no tomorrow.
Nonsense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only from fans.
Caitlin was left with no option by these analysts. Enough is enough of the persistent filth and hostility directed at her. It's a chance to start over in a league that genuinely recognizes its best players and prevents them from being singled out.
What the NBA became. Even when Jordan was ascending and the league clearly saw that that was the dude and Nike was marketing the living hell out of Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. It was still Bird and Magic.
According to reports, Caitlin Clark has received an incredible offer to play in Europe, and it appears that she is prepared to accept it. However, there is more to the tale. After experiencing numerous frustrations, Caitlin is ultimately deciding to leave the WNBA because she has had enough of the way she has been treated there. Her departure might have far-reaching consequences that rock the WNBA to its core. Caitlin Clark has encountered several difficulties in the WNBA despite all the publicity, fan appreciation, and her indisputable influence on the game. She has struggled with everything from inadequate on-court help to the league's failure to adequately safeguard its best players. These difficulties have now led to what may be one of the most unexpected professional choices we've ever witnessed: Caitlin Clark's decision to quit the WNBA for Europe. To be honest, Caitlin Clark hasn't always received the attention and consideration that a star of her caliber deserves from the WNBA. It's obvious that Clark has had enough, whether it's due to the league's apparent disinterest, the players' persistent targeting, or the lack of protection on the court. Opposing players have repeatedly crossed the line with aggressive, occasionally hazardous play while protecting Clark, getting away with excessive aggressiveness. It seems as though the league has overlooked these strategies.
You weren't making a basketball argument. You weren't making a basketball argument.
We're not saying we were making a basketball
No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
No, it wasn't a handout.
Look at her numbers. Look at her numbers comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all I'm saying.
You could even contend that because the WNBA is aware that Clark's presence on the court attracts attention and increases viewing, they have allowed this behavior to continue. After all, a little drama makes people talk. But it's too much for Caitlin. For her, the lack of protection has gotten to the point where it is just not worth it. Caitlin has expressed her displeasure with the way the league and other players have handled her. Fans have also taken note. Her fans have been complaining on social media, demanding greater respect, protection, and equity for their favorite athlete. However, not much has changed in spite of the protests. Clark feels unsupported by the league's seeming indifference, as if they didn't care enough to make the required changes.
People are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
And now, after being cruelly singled out and tormented for season after season, Caitlin Clark is at last paying attention to her followers. She has made the decision to take charge of her career since she has had enough of the league's lack of interest. By leaving the WNBA, Clark hopes to start a new chapter in her life, where her extraordinary talent, commitment, and influence on the game will be recognized as they always ought to be. Let's now discuss the consequences. Because they didn't realize how important Caitlin Clark was to the league's prosperity, the WNBA is about to go through a major decline. The WNBA will immediately experience a decline in viewership and income due to Clark's departure. It doesn't need to be sugar-coated. The league was greatly attracted to Caitlin Clark. Every time she took the court, the crowd paid attention. They watched for a single reason, regardless of whether they were casual watchers or ardent basketball enthusiasts. Clark, Caitlin.
Fact that she was getting all of that, yet all of these eyeballs were coming to the league because of her. The Indiana Fever was turning away games into home games.
The WNBA now has the enormous task of filling that void as she departs. Let's be honest, there are other gifted athletes in the league, such as Angel Reese and DJ Carrington. They lack the star power and allure that Clark brought to the game. And that's not to minimize their skills. Both of them are outstanding athletes. However, Caitlin Clark was functioning at an entirely different level. She was a movement rather than merely a player. Not only were people drawn to the WNBA, but they were also drawn to her. She was a must-watch athlete because of her fearless shooting, ability to dominate games, and competitive spirit. The league's WNBA games were not watched by fans. They watched Caitlin Clark perform. The WNBA is just now starting to fully appreciate the impact of Caitlin Clark after her departure. Millions of dollars will be lost if Clark is lost. Sales of tickets, merchandising, TV deals, and sponsorships will all suffer greatly. What's the worst part? It was completely avoidable. The league had every opportunity to safeguard Caitlin on the court, provide her the support she deserved as the league's spokesperson, and make her feel appreciated. However, they didn't.
Draft day viewership, which is up 400% to 40%. Between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%. Between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%. What Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days.
They will now pay the price for allowing problems to develop. Caitlin's exit marks a sea change that might have disastrous effects on the WNBA's future. They will soon learn how much they have lost. What specifically has Caitlin Clark been promised in Europe, then? Anyone would be stopped in their tracks by the startling numbers being flung around. According to a number of sources, the contract she has been offered is significantly better than anything the WNBA has ever offered. Caitlin is receiving a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in the EuroLeague, where players are pampered like royalty. In addition to earning a lot more money, she will benefit from playing fewer games, which will give her more time to relax, heal, and perform at her best. The choice to relocate abroad was essentially self-made.
There would be a team overseas who would love to snatch Caitlin Clark away from us and give her a crazy offer. I mean, Ice Cube was about to give her $5 million to play in less than 10 games in the Big Three.
In addition to a contract, Europe is giving Caitlin the opportunity to represent the entire league. As thousands of fans scream in thunderous applause, the lights dim as Caitlin steps out onto the court. As she walks up to take a deep three, the atmosphere in those crowded venues is tangible, with every yell from the audience echoing around the stadium. However, it's not the same this time. These supporters are there for her, not simply to watch a basketball game. The EuroLeague is aware of this and is ready to treat her like the worldwide celebrity she is, making her the focal point of their brand.
How's it feel? Do you care?
It's not just about giving Caitlin a new platform to rule. It's also about making her the biggest basketball star in the world. It's obvious that Caitlin Clark is set to enter a new era of brilliance, as evidenced by the crowded arenas full of loyal followers who admire and praise every move she makes. Europe is prepared to ensure that she shines brighter than ever, since now is her moment. However, Caitlin isn't the only one taking significant action. In search of greater possibilities abroad, other WNBA players are beginning to go the same route. For instance, it has been claimed that Nalissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell would play in China during the offseason, while Caitlin will travel to Europe. WNBA players are quickly adopting this trend as they become aware that playing abroad not only pays much more but also offers better care in general. In terms of both wage and experience quality, The WNBA's compensation structure just cannot match those of overseas leagues.
All of this comes together, and you need a star, and she is the star.
Due to the benefits of playing fewer games, getting more rest, and earning more money, players like Caitlin, Kelsey, and Alyssa are finding that playing abroad is practically a no-brainer. It's simple to see why more athletes are opting for this route when you compare the schedules, pay, and player care provided abroad. While all of this is happening, Jason Whitlock thinks Caitlin ought to be the star of an unparalleled league, where the top players face off in the WNBA off-dash break, a result. Players like Nalissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell wouldn't have to travel overseas to get paid. Alternatively, they have access to an unparalleled league of talent in America where they can earn a living. Players will have more opportunities as a result, and they will be able to profit from the women's game's increasing talent. Some amazing potential are emerging, but they won't be compensated appropriately. Rather, they will need to make money through sponsorships. But this unparalleled league concept offers a completely different range of opportunities. Let's return to Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. This change ought to be a huge wake-up call for women's basketball. Caitlin Clark and other elite players are in grave danger of leaving the league. The WNBA may experience a mass exodus of talent if they don't take action and reconsider how they pay and treat their players. Since international leagues are ready to give players so much more, it is obvious that players no longer have to accept anything less. The WNBA must reconsider its goals if it hopes to prevent an even greater talent drain in the future, and quickly.
Molly, I said...
Really, Molly? Wow.
They jumped on...
The WNBA's apparent lack of effort to retain Caitlin Clark is perhaps the most startling aspect of the whole scenario. There was nothing to show how important she was to the league. No big offer, no extravagant gesture. They basically let her leave without a fight, which is a perplexing choice. Clark was a once-in-a-generation talent with the potential to become the biggest star in American sports, but the WNBA let her pass them by. Losing someone like Caitlin is a huge error for a league that has been working hard to expand its fan base and compete on a bigger platform.